Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We are learning some shocking new details tonight out of Beltrami County, Minnesota. That's where 2 different human remains have been found in this house. We'll bring you the latest on that investigation. But first, travel is getting rough out there for a lot of drivers, and it's expected to get worse into the night. This video was taken a short time ago on I-94 under the pedestrian bridge in Fargo. You can see how visibility is low and traffic is slowing down. Your drive home is getting dangerous. The falling snow is sticking to the roads, making them slick. Valley News Team's Veronica Marshall is out there keeping an eye on the changing conditions for us and has more. Veronica?
Andrea, the falling snow is creating a travel alert here in Fargo, but right now is when drivers are getting off of work and heading home. And we've already seen multiple accidents here on I-94. Now, as you can see, some of that is getting a little better. That traffic that resulted out of that crash you saw earlier this afternoon that involved about half a dozen vehicles has been cleared up. So we are seeing traffic move along. But here are some tips to keep in mind when you have your commute to stay safe. Don't forget to use your headlights. It may be the only sign other drivers have that you're on the road. Also, don't use cruise control and move over if you see flashing lights, whether it's an ambulance or a tow truck. Now, if all of these conditions sound bad, it's going to get worse. Later tonight, the wind is going to pick up and start blowing the snow around with it, creating blizzard-like conditions. Andrea?
All right, thank you, Veronica. At the moment, areas like Fargo, Castleton, Jamestown, and Wahpeton are only under a travel alert, which means drivers need to be extra cautious. There's also a no travel advisory in effect for south central North Dakota. Also, we want to let you know about a semi-accident on I-29 north of Harwood in the leftbound lane. There's a semi in the ditch with its trailer still on the road, and that's causing a major hazard for drivers. We have a lot of information for you tonight, so let's check in right away with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson for the very latest. Hutch?
Boy, did we see some moderate to heavy snow make its way through the FM area as visibility is reduced. There's a coating here at the station, about 3 1/2 inches of snow measured at several places in the parking lot. So it is slippery out there, but right now the visibility has improved somewhat as the rate of snowfall has slowed a little bit. Up in Grand Forks to Devil's Lake, you are very quiet for the most part right now, but the heavier bands of snow are right in east central portions of North Dakota and pushing in the northwest Minnesota this hour. Fosston to Ada in Norman County, seeing some of the heavier bands in dark blue. Those bands, as they worked their way from south central North Dakota, left approximately 11 inches of snow on the ground in the Verona area. So some significant snow is expected to continue. We're expecting wind to pick up, but not until we get to the deep hours of the overnight. That's when the blizzard warning takes effect for Fargo, Moorhead, and points south into western Otter Tail County. Here's the hour-by-hour forecast. So more snow this evening, mainly sticking right where it is. And by 10 o'clock tonight, we'll see redevelopment of a few heavy bands of snow that will continue through the overnight hours to pass through the region. We start the day with temperatures just at or below zero. Nasty wind chills and winds gusting to between 30 and 40 miles per hour. So all this fresh snow is going to cause almost impossible travel conditions in some spots. I'll have hour-by-hour details on the rest of your forecast, snow totals expected, and the cold that takes hold right after here in a bit.
This is kind of a broken record for us these last couple of weeks.
Well, it's a record. No.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thanks, Hutch. We are following a developing story for you out of Bemidji, Minnesota tonight. That's where the bodies of 2 people were found. Valley News Team's Maddie Gelseth talked to the Beltrami County Sheriff, who says this case is very active.
The remains of 2 bodies were found at this residence behind me, which is in Eccles Township off Highway 89. On Monday, the sheriff's office got a call from a person who says they hadn't heard from their family member in a while. They also described the vehicle their family member might be in and that they went to Bemidji to visit a friend.
At that point, and we began to look for the vehicle. We put out information regarding the vehicle.
That night, the sheriff's department found the vehicle at Palace Casino just east of Bemidji and questioned the 2 people inside. After the interviews, deputies believe there was a violent crime that happened at this house, which is in the 6500 block of Highway 89 Northeast. The next day, that is the same home deputies found the 2 bodies. I spoke to a neighbor who says the house was taped off and a lot of officers were searching the home. One person was arrested for unrelated criminal matters, and the other person in the vehicle is now a person of interest in this case.
Those two individuals have not been identified. We have been in contact with family of the missing people that we were able to identify who they were, but we have not confirmed in any way, shape, or form that those are the individuals that we'd recovered.
Sheriff Beidel says there will be an autopsy done tomorrow to determine who these individuals are. He does tell us that this all happened within a 2-week span.
We identified one individual from the Minneapolis metro area. Another individual was identified as possibly from the Duluth Superior area.
In Bemidji, Maddie Jalseth, Valley News Live.
Now, there were some questions that this case could be tied to a missing persons case that we have been following for you for over 2 years. Jeremy Jourdain has been missing from Bemidji since Halloween night of 2016. He was 17 years old at the time. The Beltrami County Sheriff's Office confirms with us that Jourdain's disappearance is not related to this case. Fargo police want your help identifying this man who they say is involved in a recent smash and grab case. Police also say the suspect used stolen credit cards at area stores. If you have any information, you can call police and reference photo number 97. Fargo police say they have received at least 15 reports of thieves stealing from or trying to break into vehicles today. Police say the crimes are believed to have happened this morning between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the 6200 block from 61st to 63rd Avenues South in the Deer Creek neighborhood. Fargo police would like you to give them a call if you have any information on this case. We talked to one woman who says her tires were slashed. That's tonight on Valley News Live at 6. The man who's accused of kidnapping 13-year-old Jamie Kloss after killing her parents was in a Wisconsin courtroom today. Jake Patterson allegedly broke into the Kloss family's home back in October, killed Jamie's parents, and took her to an isolated cabin in Douglas County, Wisconsin. Kloss was found by a neighbor after she escaped from the cabin nearly 3 months later. Today, Patterson waived his right to a preliminary examination. The judge also scheduled Patterson's arraignment for March 27th. Members of the Kloss family were in court for today's hearing. A school bus driver was shot and a suspect was arrested after a minor crash on southbound Interstate 35W near downtown Minneapolis Tuesday afternoon. Police were called to a report of a snowy fender bender at about 2:21. Officials say a student seated in the back of the bus was not harmed. Jennifer Mayerly has more on the story.
Squad cars and crime tapes surround a school bus and car. Police say the two vehicles got into a fender bender before shots rang out on the interstate. Witnesses called 911.
They received information that there was an individual outside of a vehicle pointing a gun at the other vehicle.
Police say multiple shots were fired. At least one bullet pierced the bus, striking the driver inside. A student seated in the back of the bus was unharmed. Police call the incident reckless.
This raises immense concern on so many levels. The fact that someone is shooting into a school bus, the fact that you are on a freeway where you have vehicles that are literally stranded because of the weather. You don't have a clear backdrop for any of these rounds. This is mind-numbing.
State Patrol report finding a weapon on Kenneth Lilly, and they took the 31-year-old suspected shooter into custody. The bus driver was taken to HCMC where he needed surgery. We're told he suffered non-life-threatening injuries and was able to talk with officers.
According to online criminal records, Kenneth Lilly has only a parking ticket and a traffic ticket. Police continue to investigate what led up to that shooting. North Dakota State University's annual football national signing day party, scheduled for tonight at the Delta Hotel by Marriott, has been canceled due to the weather. Officials say the event will not be made up. Valley News Team's sports director, Beth Houle, will have more on this tonight on Valley News Live at 6. Thousands